Now that we have a better understanding of the invention of writing, now we're going to evolve it to the alphabets. Early visual language systems include Kufuni, hieroglyphics, and written Chinese contained a built-in complexity, and each of these has become a Rubius writing, ideologies, and even logograms. But these early writing systems remain unwieldy and require long, hard study to master. For centuries, the number of individuals who gained literacy was small. Their access to knowledge enabled them to acquire great power in the very early cultures. This subsequently invention of the alphabet, a word derived from the first two letters of the Greek alphabet, alpha and beta, which was a major step towards in human communications. An alphabet is a set of visual symbols or characteristics used to represent an elementary sound of a spoken language. They can be connected or combined to make a visual configurations signifying sounds, syllables, and words uttered by the human mouth. The hundreds of signs and symbols required by the Kufani and hieroglyphics were eventually replaced by 20 or 30 easy learned elementary signs. Numerous and often conflicting theories have been advanced about the origins of the alphabet. Suggested sources include the Kufunis, the hieroglyphics, and prehistorical geometric signs. As depicted in this image, the written language is developed on the island of Crete and in continental Greece in the Bronze Age. It represents the famous Crete and Mycenaean cultures of Eastern Mediterranean, which preceded the culture of classical Greece. There were, in fact, two main stages in the development of the Crete script, pictographs and syllabic. The pictograms or hieroglyphics were used in the Middle Mianni period of the history of Crete and are divided into two variants. Early, used mainly on seals, and late, which is met in the inscription on tablets. About 150 pictographic inscriptions were found at all. They depict people, animals, plants, and written from either from the right or from the left. Here we can see that the written hieroglyphics were simplified, but they maintain their pictographic origin. The oldest known writing system employed by the Semitic-speaking people is the cuneiform. The first cuneiform was formed from top to bottom in vertical rows, with the first row at the right, but at the later date the direction of the writing was reversed. That is, it was written in horizontal rows from left to right. The North Semitic and South Semitic scripts are thought by some scholars to go back to the common source, the hypothetical Proto-Semitic writing system. Others, despite this, and regard the origin of the South Semitic alphabet as a still unsolved problem. The Aramaic alphabet is adopted from the Phoenician alphabet and became distinctive from it by the 8th century. The letters all represent consonants, some of which can also be indicated as a long vowels. The Greek alphabet is a script that has been used to write the Greek language since the 8th century. It was derived from the early Phoenician alphabet and was in turn the ancestors of numerous other European and Middle Eastern scripts. Apart from its use in writing the Greek language, both in its ancestry and its modern forms, the Greek alphabet today also serves as a source of technical symbols and labels in many domains of mathematics, science, and other fields. In its classical and modern forms, the alphabet has 24 letters, ordered from alpha to omega. Like Latin and Cyrillic, Greek originally had only a single form for each letter. It developed the letter case distinction between uppercase and lowercase forms in parallel with Latin during the modern era. Sound values and conventional transcriptions of some of the letters differ between ancient Greece and modern Greece usage. owing to phonological changes in the language. In traditional Greek ornithology, vowel letters can be combined with several diacritics, including accent marks, so-called breathing marks, and the idios subscripts. In common present-day use for modern Greek since the 1890s, the system has been simplified to a so-called monotonic convention. The classical Latin alphabet, or Roman alphabet, is a writing system which evolved from the Western variety of the Greek alphabet. Itself is a dependent of the Phoenician alphabet, also a descendant of the Egyptian hieroglyphics, which is adopted and modified by the Etruscans. The Etruscan alphabet was in turn adopted and further modified by the ancient Romans to write the Latin language. During the Middle Ages, the Latin alphabet was adopted to Romance languages, direct descendants of Latin, as well as to Celtic, Germanic, Baltic, and other Slavic languages. With the age of colonialism and Christian evangelists, the Latin script was spread overseas and applied to the indigenous America, Australian, and African languages. More recently, linguists have also tended to prefer the Latin script or the International Phonetic Alphabet when transcribing or creating written standards. Hangul is a featured alphabet of 24 consonants and vowel letters. However, instead of being written subsequently like the letters of the alphabet of Latin, Hangul letters are grouped into blocks, each of which tribescates a syllable. Each syllabic block consists of 2 to 5 letters, including at least one consonant and one vowel. These blocks are then arranged horizontally from left to right or vertically from top to bottom. The number of mathematically possibility blocks is 11,172. There are few far possible syllables allowed by the Korean phonotax. Now that we have covered the alphabets and also the invention of writing, we're going to talk a little bit about our assignments this week. The self-quiz is, please note that this is a non-graded self-quiz. The results will not be shared with your professor of the course. You are allowed to retake this as many times needed to gain an understanding of the materials learned for this module. During this week, we also have a discussion board. This week, we have learned about the origins of writing and the alphabet. Choose 3 interesting facts that you discovered about writing and alphabets during your reading and viewing of the videos this week. Create a new thread for your discussion. Your initial post should be done by Thursday evening, and then you should give feedback to 3 of your classmates, and that is due by Sunday of this week. During each module, students will be selected to create a glossary of terms for assigned chapters. Listed below is the breakdown of students and their chapters that they are responsible for. Please refer to this list for your grading assignment responsibilities. And the final assignment, which is due after the end of week 2, is the prologue of graphic design project. Please see all of the details on this week's posting of Blackboard if you have any questions.